Welcome, everybody. So, my name is Sam Kwak. I'm one half of the Kwak brothers. I represent a company called Accelerated Strategies. We are a financial consulting as well as a software company. And first of all, I want to thank the team over at the USPAAC. Sorry, it's a long acronym, so I won't be able to say the whole thing, but I want to appreciate our wonderful team and host for this opportunity to share with some information. And then towards the end, we will have some Q&A. We'd love to have questions answered for you guys related to AI as it is this new hot thing right now that everyone wants to get involved, especially small businesses. So as we get into the presentation, I'm going to share my screen, share my slides. There we go. Awesome. So the title of my presentation today, and I really do hope that you get to walk away today with practical, actionable steps that you can take home. And I know there's going to be a lot of different things that are shared. So what I want you to do is not get overwhelmed by 20 different things that you can do, right? Though you might write them down. I want you to focus on one thing that you can implement probably in the next 7 to 10 days that would create a meaningful difference for you in your business. So that out of the way, my title for the presentation is How to Implement AI Like a Pro to Grow Your Business. It'll be a practical. I love being in the practical. We can talk about theory all day, but it sounds interesting. But all of us here are business owners and we got to make money and we got to create products and attract customers. So I'm going to show you how to do all that using AI, and hopefully today's presentation will lead you on a path where your understanding, your practicality, and expertise on AI will perhaps be improved. So, the first thing I want to say, I know a lot of people have varying opinions about AI, right? One being, well, AI is awesome. It is the new frontier. Everyone should be using AI. AI is this thing we need to all worship, right? That might be your opinion. But on the contrary, you might be saying, well, man, like, I don't want AI to replace jobs. I don't want AI to create more disconnect between people. There might be some healthy level of fear around what AI is and what AI isn't. So my stance on AI or artificial intelligence is that it's not the enemy. It's simply a tool. Okay. I don't believe that AI will replace humans, but rather humans that use AI tools effectively could and will replace humans that are not using them. So again, the AI doesn't have to be enemy. It is what you decide you want to do with. It's a tool, right? If you decide that you want to use a hammer instead of a drill, right? That's completely up to you, just as with any tool that are available in the practical world. So know that AI doesn't have to be the enemy. It is not coming after you. It can be wielded to help you increase the quality of your services and products, as well as just the quality of society overall. So my presentation today will be broken down to three major sections. One being, how do we use AI to work smarter, right? How do we become productive? How do we cut back from busy work or work that AI can perhaps speed things up rather quickly, allowing you to do more and create more with less time? Okay. Second part of the presentation, we're going to talk about how to get better data, better information, better insight so that you, as the human, can make better decisions. So I'll show you some different tools, how to set these tools up, what are some available resources that you can use right away that will immediately give you more insight to not only your business, but perhaps the marketplace you serve in general that can spawn some new decisions as well as new ideas. Lastly is how do we build and ship products, apps, software, custom software perhaps. I know that sounds intimidating for some of you, but I'm going to show you how to make this practical, approachable, and doable for many of you guys, perhaps that have almost no technical background whatsoever. So I'll show you and walk you guys through that process. So first thing first, let's go and talk about how do we use AI for productivity? Okay. How do we use AI powered resources that allow us to do more, create more, save time, etc. So, what are the things that you could do as a business owner, as an entrepreneur? is turn mountains of data points or things to do into a fully automated tasks. Okay, so one practical example might be is to connect your existing bookkeeping app like a QuickBooks or Xero, right, to generate fast and quick qualitative analysis. So later on, I'm going to show you how to, when we get to the insight part of it, how to connect your bookkeeping apps to popular AI chat tools like Claude or ChatGPT that is done in a secure way, but also AI can now read into your books to give you analysis. We'll talk more about that later. But more and more today, we're seeing new AI tools that could either do your books for you, at least enough to where a lot of the mundane categorization or reconciliation can be done by the AI. If anyone had to do bookkeeping at one point, I know I did as a small business owner starting out a long time ago, I couldn't afford a bookkeeper. So I had to go learn how to do the bookkeeping myself, right? And if you've done bookkeeping in the past, you know that you have to do bank reconciliation back in the days where we had to pull actual bank statements. It was pretty mundane thing to do. But with AI now, a lot of the reconciliation, categorization of certain expenses and income can be automated and done in a very accurate way that has never been done before. So perhaps instead of spending hours on bookkeeping, categorizing expenses, and such forth, could there be a possibility where we can cut that down to perhaps less than an hour? And I think that is what AI can be used today to allow us to focus on our critical strengths as entrepreneurs, as opposed to doing mundane maintenance, administrative type of tasks, right? I love my accountant, I love my bookkeeper, but anytime I'm asked to sit down to actually like plug numbers in, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I need to get out of doing this ASAP, right? It's energy sucking, right? Time sucking. And as entrepreneurs and small business owners, our creativity is what we need to guard the most. And whenever you engage in a task or a project that sucks away creativity, that could be a liability or a detriment to our business. So we want to, yes, hire people out, but perhaps hire people who have AI productivity tools, such as in the case of bookkeeping, that could allow you to focus on your core strengths, right? Your core vision, your core competencies or unique advantage that allows your business to be competitive. Okay. So that's the first thing that you could do. Some AI mundane tasks like signups, data entry, all that AI can do it fully automated now these days. But of course, if there are any tasks or projects that perhaps do need human in the loop, right? For approvals or for the right judgment call. I know some of you guys might be in a business where there's strict compliance and regulatory rules that make it sensitive, right, for AI to do everything automatically. But perhaps a lot of the busy work can be done by AI, but you get to approve between tasks and jobs. So yeah, whether it's to create large amount of documents, financial statements, data sets, AI can do it. I now use AI to write blog articles. So I publish on YouTube every day. So I have a YouTube channel. And for each video, I would have AI summarize the video and basically write a blog article. I basically review it and make sure it's factually true. And then the AI then publishes it to my website, right? As a blog article. Same thing with my PR releases. Anytime I need to do a PR release, I tell the AI, hey, here's some factual events and material things that needs to be talked about. AI writes it, I review it. I might do some human editing, and then it's released for PR release. So anything that involves writing, math, a lot of that can be done very, very quickly. Okay. For those that are in the legal space, there are stories where attorneys and trials right now, there's some experimentation with cases and briefs being written by AI. Very interesting, right? I mean, back in the day, you'd have paralegal spend days writing different case briefs and oppositions and memorandums. Now AI can do a lot of that in a matter of minutes and hours as opposed to days or weeks. So very, very powerful if considering what is possible. So a couple more things that I've done in the past as case studies, and I share all this so that perhaps something is turning in your head, right? You don't necessarily have to copy what I'm doing, but perhaps by giving you guys some examples, you're thinking, oh, wait a minute, that reminds me that I got to do this project next week. Maybe I can try AI with it, right? So that's kind of the point that I'm making. So I also happen to sit in a board for a fairly large organization, and I happen to be the treasurer for this board. And I was tasked to review multi-hundred page audited financials. And I'm like, I can do this, right? Or I could upload them into AI and ask for critical summaries that I need to go and look for, or any red flags that I need to go manually review. And what would have taken days for me to review these hundreds of pages of audited financial reports to ultimately create a summary, I went and matter of minutes, I got 10 bullet points that I could go review, and then I was able to validate it. And at the end of the day, I had a one-page summary of the audited financials that I could present to the board. So again, what would have taken days to do in pre-AI era now takes matter of minutes, perhaps a couple hours to accomplish, with of course some human supervision as well as help. Okay. Again, all of this, as I'm sharing my case studies and how I've been using AI, again, there might be a degree of human involvement depending on your industry, right? Maybe what I just showed you and talked about might be a huge no-no in your industry where that cannot or should not happen, right? So use your best judgment, and perhaps that's something you could ask AI too and say, hey, I'm in this industry, I do this line of work. Is there any legal or compliance or regulatory implications of me doing this with AI, right? Another way to use AI is research. So there you go. Another case was I had to take multiple spreadsheets, fragmented data. I needed to consolidate them into one. I uploaded multiple spreadsheets into Claude, and I asked it to say, "Hey, can you compile an aggregate, deduplicate or remove any duplicate data points and merge everything for me?" And boom, it was able to do it for me in 30 seconds, right? Just incredible, right? It's back in those days, back pre-AI, we had to have like fancy formulas to do everything, and it took hours. I mean, it was just a mess. So there we go. Yeah, so for those that run teams or have employees, have contractors that you manage, yeah, I use Teams with most some of my so not Microsoft Teams. I meant like a literal team, like people, not the Microsoft Teams software for team interaction. Sorry, I should have been more specific. Yeah, no, you're good. My fault. If you have multiple people like humans working with you or for you in your company, okay? If that is the case, right? Um, my guess is you would have some kind of a documented SOP, team handbook, procedure, guidelines, manuals, etc. Right? We do as well. We have I mean, hundreds of pages of SOPs, manuals, and guidelines, and things like that. Now, pre-AI, you would have expected your team member to have read it, know it, memorize it, and they need to stick with it, right? And over time, right, people will remember, we'll get the flow and we'll learn, and it may take time to do that. Well, now with AI, I can plug AI into my manuals and SOPs, and whenever my team has a question regarding how certain things need to be done, or what information they need to know to perform a task, they can just ask the AI that's plugged in with our SOPs and training manual, and the AI literally tells the team like, "Hey, this is how you need to do XYZ based on your situation." So this is think of it like an internal 24/7 personal assistant for everybody. And one practical approach that my team has been using is that when our sales team has a question from a customer, and the customer is asking a question regarding a service or a product that might be really, really specific, right? And the salesperson might be thinking, well, shoot, like I don't know the answer to that. I need to get back to the customer with the right answer. Instead of asking another person and waiting for several hours, my sales team now goes to our AI, asks the question that the customer is asking, and gets the answer back within seconds. And now has a prepared answer to then finish that conversation and close the deal. So this is a phenomenal way to not only become a training and operational tool for your team, but it impacts areas in sales, marketing, customer service, delivery, etc. Right? Instead of waiting on other team members' answers and responses, AI now you can provide AI with a centralized FAQ or SOP that can answer just about any questions along the way, which is stinking cool. Okay. Yeah. So that is how to be productive with AI. And I've only given you some and few examples, again, practical things that my team in my company does that you could either, you can copy if you want, take our operational procedures, or that you might say, hey, I like this idea. I think I have an idea on how to implement it uniquely for my company for what we do. Okay. And it may look a little bit different for you guys, and that's okay. All right. Okay. Part two, how do we use AI to make better decisions? Okay. Now, you might not believe in AI doing the busy work for you. Perhaps you still like having humans around. That's totally cool. But what about decision making, right? What about analytics, business intelligence, um, research in terms of what's going on in the marketplace? Okay. So a couple things you can do. The first is internal data or internal insights. Okay. Who here uses a CRM, customer relationship management software? Okay, whether it be HubSpot, Salesforce, Active Campaign, Keep, just to name a few. Yeah, or maybe you use other types of tools, industry-specific CRMs. HubSpot, okay, yeah, good. Yeah, HubSpot's a good one. Okay. So if you have a process where you have a sales team or you do email marketing or any facet of your business involves storing customer data or you have customer and sales pipeline in a CRM, right? Maybe you want to get some insight as to how efficient your pipeline is, right? Maybe you want insights as to, okay, where do my customers get stuck the most in the sales or marketing funnel? Many of the popular CRMs, like what you mentioned, HubSpot, many of the softwares now, CRM software has something called MCP server. Now, MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. You don't have to remember that. Even I forget that. Okay, so you don't have to memorize that. All MCP is, it allows you to securely and safely connect an existing software that you already use to an AI chatbot tool. Okay. Sometimes it could be a software to software thing, but and there's no coding required, which is the best part of MCP. So if for example, if you're using HubSpot, HubSpot likely will have MCP server access that you can then connect to like ChatGPT, Gemini, or Claude. And what's really cool is that now, once you have your CRM connected to like Claude or ChatGPT, you can ask using ChatGPT or Claude and say, hey, looking at my sales pipeline, what are likelihood that in the next 7 days of 80% of those deals closing, right? And the AI will go and analyze all the deals, all the records, all the notes, and say, hey, based on my findings and research, we believe the likelihood you can close, you know, at 70% of the deals in the next 7 days, it's fairly likely, right? So you can gain insights as to what's actually going on in your sales pipeline, in your marketing pipeline, funnels, your customer records. You can even ask like, you know, um, where do my most valuable customers come from? Like what state and city, right? If you store that kind of data, right? And so perhaps, California might be my most valuable state in terms of where I generate the most, lifetime value for my customers. And then I can shift my resources and now I can make some decisions on, oh wow, like if I'm generating 80% of my revenue from customers in California, maybe I need to put some more resources there and that might be the market that I go all in on, right? So things like that, right? Where in the past it took multiple financial analysts or data analysts to analyze everything, to create reports, and to generate tables and pie charts and everything. It could take days, right? And hire an expensive firm to do that. AI can do it within 2, 3 minutes. I mean, it's right. And you as a small business owner have insight and ideas and data that you can use to make really quick decisions. Okay. Another tool that I want to recommend and what's possible, and I'm not endorsing them. I'm not an affiliate. I'm not selling this tool. I don't get paid, no sponsorships here. I use a tool called Post Hog. If you run a business that has any online business or online traffic, meaning customers, leads, clients come to you through online channels like websites, email, social media, ads, if you run Meta ads or YouTube ads, um, Post Hog should be mandatory. So what Post Hog is, it's a product and analytics tool. It works very much like Google Analytics, if you've used that before. I personally love Post Hog because it gathers data on your visitors, it tracks certain events, conversions, it measures marketing and sales performance. So Post Hog can connect to your CRM as well through MCP. Post Hog can also connect to your favorite payment processing platforms like Stripe, PayPal. What are some of the other ones? I think Clover too. Okay, and so it can measure your revenue metrics and trends. Post Hog can also connect to your website. It can connect to your social media, your ad accounts, and it aggregates all the data, meaning it takes all the data and insights from all these different things that you're using, all the different tools, and puts them all in one spot. Okay, and Post Hog has an AI tool that you can literally ask Post Hog AI, hey, based on the revenue I generated and the my advertising campaigns and the visitor flow to my website, how efficient, where do you see in my business a constraint or a bottleneck that I can solve that it would immediately unlock a 40% growth in my business? Right? And the best part about Post Hog, to get started, it's free. But everyone should have Post Hog installed in their website just so that you can get data and really precious analytics. This is how I know exactly which customers coming from what state is valuable. I know exactly how many sales calls been booked on a day. I know exactly how many qualified customers I get in a day. I can literally, if you ask me a question, about really anything about my business, I can give the answer to you within 30 seconds, right? It's that powerful. So with data like this, right, or insights about your business, you're fully aware of what's going on. You're going to be able to make more and better educated decisions, right? Instead of making decisions or shooting your shots in the dark of going, hey, maybe I should build this product or try this service, or maybe I should change the button, the color of my button on my website to this, or maybe I should try Google Ads, right? Before you make any of those decisions, getting clean and proper data as to your existing business will help you make better decisions. And decisions cost money, guys, right? If the decision is not made well, it can cost you money, right? A decision well made can perhaps make you more money and continue to see returns on your investments as well as the decisions you make in your business. Okay. So if anything at all, like at minimum, you should install Post Talk to your website. Again, if you don't know how to do that, ask AI. Right? You can literally ask AI. I'm like, okay, Sam, this is all great. I love the idea of installing Post Talk, but how do I do that? We'll just ask AI, and it'll literally tell you. And what's great about AI is it will ask you questions too, right? So you ask AI like, hey, this Sam Kwak guy, this crazy guy I found on this workshop, he tells me I got to install Post Talk. How do I do that on my website? And the AI might ask you, okay, what website platform are you using? What hosting service are you using? Are you using WordPress? Are you using GoDaddy? Are you using whatever, right? And then it will interview you to get clarifying questions as well as context to give you the right answer for your business and your, tech stack, right? So that's the beauty of AI is if you don't know how to do something with AI, honestly, the best answer is ask AI. It's a weird paradox. I get it, but yes, it can be something that you can do for your website. Okay. The third part is build micro web apps that boost efficiency. Okay. Now, how many of you guys have built software in the past or apps? Anybody? Again, the chat is open, and I get that you guys are busy. Um, Maybe you're running your business right now and you're just listening to this on the side. I totally get it. Okay. All right. Anybody have built webs, apps, or website, anything like that? Or how many of you, a better question to ask, how many of you have dreamed or thought about building an app or a website for your business, but you just couldn't? Like it was either expensive, prohibitive, you didn't know anybody to help you build it. Hiring a developer would have cost a lot of money for you, right? I've coded for a website. Okay, awesome, awesome. Yeah. So if you have thought about building an app, or even if you haven't, the idea is, can I build something that currently doesn't exist that will greatly make my business more productive? So I guess this kind of touches back to the productivity point. Okay. So here's the beautiful thing about AI now these days is that AI now can build apps and software at a very relatively cheap cost. In fact, really cheap. Now, as far as how technical and how complex it is, that becomes a different conversation. But if you're looking to build a custom app just for it to solve something very small, right? Maybe you need a custom app that, whenever you go do an appointment with your customers, you need to be able to quickly write down notes and that connects to your software, right? Whatever the case might be, you can build micro apps practically within a day or even a weekend. So there are new tools like Lovable, Base 44, Claude Code. I personally use something called Cursor. It's a more developer-friendly tool, and it does take a little bit more um, technical knowledge to run. But yeah, Lovable, Base 44, I would say are probably non-tech friendly or non-dev friendly that anybody can just speak and talk to it, and it will make you the thing, which is really cool. So a case study that I love to share is that we built our own webinar platform. So a lot of our business comes from webinars, recorded seminars and workshops, and we were using a decent pre-built webinar software. It was okay. We were paying about $300 a month to a third-party subscription. It was a decent tool. I mean, we didn't have any big complaints, but I knew knowing my customers, I knew knowing my industry and my marketplace that I just needed something more unique for what we did, right? And it didn't exist. I mean, I looked everywhere. I was trying to see if anyone built it and is selling it, even on a subscription. Can I do this? And nowhere where I could find this tool, this webinar software that I really wanted to be able to use that was custom and it did exactly what I needed to do. So on one weekend, I used actually Lovable to do this. I basically told Lovable, hey, here's a webinar software that I want to build. It needs to do this. Okay, these are the success criteria. This is the problem that it solves. These are the things that I want to stay away from. And here is the deliverable that I need. And after about, I would say, a couple hours, I had a working prototype of the software that I wanted for my software, my webinar. And so, with some fine tweaking, a couple weeks, and after testing it for a couple weeks, for less than $300 of actual like hard cost, I had a custom webinar software that I launched, and it actually brought 30% more of the viewers to take action for 300 bucks. Right? So I was already paying $300 a month on a subscription-based software for my webinars, and it was underperforming. I just had to pay 300 bucks, put some, few of my time, a couple hours and a couple weeks to test. And once we launched, we had 30% better outcome and result, and one-time hard cost of 300 bucks. Not bad, right? So I know this idea might sound intimidating. You're like, oh my gosh, Sam, I'll never be able to do this. I'm not a tech person. I'm not, I've never built a website in my life. Lovable and Base 44 was built precisely for you. Again, I don't get endorsed. I'm not getting paid by Lovable or Base 44. These are just tools that I've used. Okay. Same thing with Claude Code. These are tools that I've used personally to help build tools, build widgets and gadgets for my business so that my business can run more efficiently. Okay. Yeah, guys. The first step is smaller than you think, right? Even if you have never used AI in your life, start somewhere. Okay. Using Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, they're all great. Honestly, if you're just getting started, there's no really one that is better. I mean, if you're looking to do something very specialized, I could recommend one or the other. But for most small businesses, perhaps dabbling into AI, yeah, all three of these tools at a frontier level, they're all amazing. There's really one that doesn't, I wouldn't say triumph over. So going back to the software and app conversation, if you are thinking about a tool that you want to build on the either platforms, Lovable or Base 44, here is the template for the prompt. Okay, if you're taking notes, write this down. Okay, provided exactly what the provide exact executive summary of what you're trying to build. Okay, what is it? What is the thing that you're trying to build? Is it a software? Is it an app? For what? Okay. Second, what problem should it solve? Okay, be very specific with the AI and say, hey, I want to solve for this. So in my case for the webinar, I wanted to solve where I want to increase retention, meaning people sitting and actually watching the webinar all the way through. Okay, and actually taking meaningful actions afterwards. Okay. Three, success criterias. Okay, and this could be a bullet point. Like, what needs to happen for you to say at the end that this was a successful launch or a successful product or a successful tool? Okay, what needs to exist or happen for the app or software to have been deemed successful and useful? Okay, that's the third thing. Fourth thing is guardrail or exclusions. So now you're saying, what are you trying to avoid? Or what do you want the AI not to do? Okay. So for those that are or have experience in project management, this sounds familiar, right? Because this is basically a template to a project brief. And it's exactly what this is. So what do you want the AI not to do? And some guardrails, right? That you don't want it to, like, if there's any regulatory or compliance things that you're thinking about, right? Let the AI know. Okay. All right. And what are the deliverables? Like, what should it look like? In what format should the AI deliver? Okay. So start with that. And then as AI builds, you'll provide feedback, right? So AI will build it, and then you'll say, hey, I like that, but I don't like this. And obviously tell it why and keep iterating. And at the end, you'll have a working prototype that you can use perhaps for your business. So that's the template that I use when I'm starting when I need to build a micro app, when I need to build a custom tool that perhaps doesn't exist. So it's, something that you can use for your kind of getting started, dabbling into the world of AI app building. Okay. How is Copilot? I personally have never used Copilot. I'm sorry. I know some people are like diehard Microsoft fan. I'm not one of those guys. I don't like Microsoft, to be honest with you. Yeah, I even now I'm using an Apple device right now. So I'm sure. I know with Microsoft's investment into AI, I'm pretty sure Copilot is good. I mean, Microsoft is a enterprise grade, company. So I would imagine Copilot would be really good. Okay. But I can't testify to my own personal experience. So yeah. A book that I would recommend, in just having better understanding of AI, or you're just so new to AI that like none of this makes sense to you, and everything that I'm saying sounds like Korean. You're like, what the heck is he saying? A good book to start is called The AI Driven Leader by Jeff Woods. I recommend this book to anyone that is an executive, small business owner, that you just want to better understand what AI is and can do from a business standpoint. This is the book that I would recommend. Um, yeah, so there we go. So this is the book that I would recommend. Just kind of getting more thought around AI. Again, the three things we talked about today: work smarter, right? Let AI do a lot of the busy work for you, especially when it comes to data entry, anything that involves in writing, math. AI can do it very fast, and it does well, especially with some of the newer models, AI models these days. Oh my gosh, like they literally blow you away. And then how to get insights using AI, right? We talked about tools of post hog, connecting your CRM and your website and using MCP, and then building a ship, right? If you want to build products, even so, I don't know your full name, D Mixon, but yeah, you could build products for your customers. So maybe you don't want to build an app or software for internal use, but maybe you want to build an app or software that you can perhaps sell with users, and you're charging them subscriptions. And right now, that is opening a huge floodgate of opportunities. I mean, I know a handful of people who have made, or at least making 6 grand on the side, on top of having a normal job, just having building something, and they're selling it. Um, it's crazy. It's there's never been a better time to be a small business owner than today with some of the new tools that are coming out. It is amazing. Um, yeah. So that pretty much concludes at least the presentation portion of or the official presentation of my talk. But happy to do a Q&A, or any questions. If you want me to demo certain things, I can do that. I got my screen shared as well. Um, yeah, so I see. Yeah, so D Mixon says, I do not want to build a software program or AI app. I do want to create a new HR program for my clients. I'm an HR consultant. Can I still use what you just outlined that you recommend? Yeah, absolutely you can. Okay. Maybe it could be like you could even build like a quiz tool, like an assessment tool for your clients, perhaps. So this is a personal experience from last year when we went through like an HR audit. I remember our HR consultant that we hired had us do like an assessment or a quiz, but I know she spent money to go ahead and like buy this software, I think. And we're the ones that filled out the assessment, and then that helped her understand what our needs are for HR. But perhaps for you, you may have your unique advantage or unique selling point that is unique to your business, and you want to build a unique assessment specifically for how you like to do HR consulting, and you can build an assessment tool. And now you have a competitive edge because maybe other HR consultants are using the kind of same, off the shelf software that everyone uses. But for you, you might have a custom HR assessment tool that gives you a competitive edge over some of the other HR consultants. So it's things like that, guys, that, now these days, if you have a unique idea, a unique proposition or unique product, and the barrier for the longest time has been tech, AI has unlocked it. It's just that good. Yeah. Um, okay, any other questions, guys, on AI, practicality of AI? Um, yeah, let me go back up to see, make sure I haven't missed any questions. What are the security risks of uploading financial information from QuickBooks into AI? Phenomenal question. So there are always risks. Okay, I won't downplay that. If you are in a specific industry, where risking information can come with a hefty price, um, then this is something that you have to, excuse me, you have to um, really be cautious about. This is why a lot of businesses are investing in their own internal AI hardware and infrastructure as opposed to relying on, subscription-based software. Claude, ChatGPT, the things that you pay like $20 or $30 a month for. Those, um, whenever you interact with those chat tools, you are interacting with like, the internet, right? So yeah, there's always going to be a small level risk that anything that you share with AI can be or could potentially either be exposed or that someone that you don't want them accessing could access it. So one of the things that you could consider investing into is your own hardware, like a closed loop AI hardware, and that's becoming really, really popular. And this is why you're seeing such a big investment right now, like billions and billions of dollars investment by companies buying, AI hardware, which is why there's this huge demand right now for microchip, right? So, you know, big enterprise companies like I don't want to guess one. I'll name one. Maybe Microsoft, right? Microsoft and their infinite wisdom, they have likely their own AI hardware. Like they probably have their own data center with, servers that do their own AI modeling so that any information shared with that AI is contained within, right, the ecosystem of Microsoft. So yeah, so I mean, obviously, if you're a small business owner, it might be something that you won't be able to access now, but it is becoming more prevalent. I just saw AMD, I think a couple weeks ago, launch a new computer that can run a fairly good AI model for 3, 4 grand, and that you just put in your office, you turn it on, leave it on for 24/7, and then that's your AI, almost like a on-premise AI, if you think about it. So if security and information leak is a concern to you, then yeah, consider a closed-ended, closed-looped AI hardware model that, yeah, that you can run internally. But yeah, great question. Obviously, some hard like no-nos, like don't share social security numbers with AI, never share credit card information with AI. Um, just don't do that. No personally identifiable information, so no PII with AI, right? Those are like hard no-nos. Um, yeah, so if you're not willing to share it with a stranger, don't share it with an AI. No matter how much, you fall in love with your AI, just don't do it, okay? It won't love you back when security is a risk, okay? Yeah. And I believe actually QuickBooks is on either they have it or they are on their way of releasing their own AI, okay? Where you can ask QuickBooks AI questions, and it's a closed loop system. So that's really cool. Kedra is asking, so from what I understand, I can create a survey that can ascertain a consumer medical nutrition guideline self-reported to create a customer-based nutrition service. Then I can use a custom app to build and manage orders and data. Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, going back to my earlier comment, think about HIPAA, right? Regulations, how you store data, etc. But again, you can ask those questions to AI and say, hey, this is the business model that I'm considering, or a service or an app. What legal security ramifications should I be considering when building this tool? Okay. Like, for example, a couple months ago, we launched our own AI-based budgeting tool for consumers. And yeah, exactly what we had to keep in mind. We had to safeguard and protect our users' financial information. So obviously, even from the architecture standpoint, meaning which server we're using, which database we're using, all of that, we have to consider security as the foremost priority. So yeah. Any other questions, guys? I believe we have what, 9 minutes, 10 minutes. So any other questions? Yeah, you guys are asking really good questions. That's really good. Okay. All right, my coffee's finally warm. Awesome. You introduced MCP as a way to connect AI with CRM data. Could you explain what that implementation process looks like for a small business without an IT department? So the beauty of MCP itself, and the reason why MCP, it's a protocol, why it was created in the first place was for people who didn't have technical background, right? It's built for non-technical people so that they can quickly connect one software to AI. So if you're using Claude, for example, let me actually demo this for you guys. This will be cool. Okay. Let me see if I can do this. Ba, 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 ba. Yeah, let me do this. Let me try this. Okay. Let's see if I can do. Okay, so I'm gonna share my this screen here. I'll bring this up here. There we go. Welcome to my world. So this is Claude, and you can use Claude Code or Cloud Home. I'm just gonna show you Claude Code. So if you go to connectors, manage connectors, you can now connect. They have a series of connectors that can you connect, and this is all MCP. So you can go and say, hey, I want to connect to my Google Calendar or Gmail. And what that does is AI can now read your Gmail content. Again, something might be useful if you're like looking for a summary of things, or even like Google Calendar. This is something that I've done a couple of weeks ago where I connected AI to Google Calendar, my calendar, and I asked it like, hey, as a business owner looking through the last 90 days, how productive do you think I was? Right? Or am I actually spending my time as a business owner in the right places? And I was actually quite surprised. The AI is like, hey, you're spending too much time on XYZ task. You should consider delegating that, right? So it was really cool for me to like do a personal audit of my own calendar. So if you use Slack or Square, all these things can be done and connected. I believe there's also custom MCP. Yeah, so these are yeah. So you can see Post Talk. I got Post Talk connected to AI and my Claude as an MCP. QuickBooks, Stripe. Yeah, there's plenty. Like I use ClickUp for my internal communication with my team. So these are fairly easy. Where you go browse connectors, and if you want to connect to Microsoft 365, I hit connect, continue, and it's going to ask me to basically sign in, right, to my Microsoft 365 account. And once I sign in, it's going to say, hey, do you wish to share XYZ info with Claude? And it just hit accept and authorize. And then Claude now can read into whatever tool or software that you're wanting to connect with. So um, yeah, so if you connect to Microsoft 365, I know someone uses Microsoft a lot here. You can ask AI to do SharePoint search, chat message search, Outlook email search, Outlook calendar. Okay, so really, really cool. Let me see what else is available, like Gmail, Canva, Notion. I mean, yeah, this list is really, really long. So likely your software or tool that you use is probably going to be on this list. So, so it's fairly big list. Um, yeah, what is the full form of MCP? So it's again, I don't even memorize this stuff, guys. Let me go back to my slide. So it stands for Model Context Protocol. It doesn't mean anything, honestly. Just know what. So all MCP does, just know that you're able to connect AI safely and securely into an existing software and tool that you use. And most MCP is read only. There are certain MCP connections that you can actually have the AI do things in the software. Maybe that's something that you don't feel comfortable yet, or ever. But you can set that up where you can have the AI only read data, not do anything like make changes or anything like that. Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other questions, guys? whether it be MCP, AI, really anything. So the point I'm making with MCP is your AI is only as good as the data you feed to it. That's it, right? So ChatGPT or Claude or a Gemini, these things are all great, but by themselves, they're kind of okay. If you really want these AI tools to be powerful, you have to feed it the right data, right? Data meaning connections to your software or context and insights, etc. Okay. Yeah, it can only do what you tell it to do. Yeah. And this is why I firmly believe that, excuse me, AI will not replace humans because I think the I like to think of AI like a dog. I know it's a weird example. You know, there's a saying, right? Like your dog oftentimes takes the personality of the owner. Like you guys heard that term or analogy before, right? And I actually think it's 100% true as a non-dog owner, right? I love dogs, but I don't own any pets. But when I have, I visit friends that have dogs or pets. It's really interesting that the dog takes on a lot of the characteristics and the personality of the owner. And it's really interesting. So I use that as an analogy with AI. The AI will take the characteristics and the limitation and the capability of that of the operator. If the operator is good, if the operator is educated, if the operator has the ability to think critically, then so will the AI. The boundary of AI will expand as far as it could where the operator is, right? So, in other words, okay, not there's no disrespect in this. A dumb person operating AI will have a dumb AI, right? A smart and intelligent person operating AI, you'll have a very smart and well operating AI. Okay. All right. Agree with it. Oh, yeah, you have been very specific. Share my outcome. Okay. If you are too simple, it would prompting your outcome may be simple. Yeah, absolutely true. Yeah, you might start with simple, but you want to like narrow in, right? If you don't know what you're asking or you don't know what you don't know, perhaps you start broad, right? But then through questions and interactions and conversation, you become narrower and narrower and more educated as you go. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions, guys, on the topic of AI, technology, um, really anything else? Have you used Daobao? I have not personally, Jenny. I can't give you much insight into it. How do you know if it's safe to use it? Um, this might not be the answer you want, but you may have to read the terms and agreement or terms of service as to how they store and process your data. Who ultimately owns the data is the question. So if the company has a right to store your data indefinitely or they're only licensing the AI to you and they own the conversation, then that might be a little bit problematic because then they can see what you're doing and your conversations and all that. So yeah, I don't know if it's safe or not. But I'm telling you how you could determine whether it's safe or not for your business, right? Yeah. Okay. Any other questions on the topic? I think we're almost at time. Okay. Don't be that person where later on you're in your showers going, "Oh my gosh, I totally forgot to ask that question," right? Like we all know the best thoughts and ideas come in the bathroom, not in the conference room. Like every night in the shower, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I gotta try out that idea." Like I wish there was a like a tool or something that like a notepad that I can write in the shower that like I can write down and then it gets immediately sent to my phone after I'm done. That'd be cool, right? And then my wife comes and I'm like, what's so taking so long? Well, I'm writing this down. I'm having a little, mastermind session in the shower. Probably exists on Temu. Yeah, I gotta check it out. I'm sure there is. I like, you like put it on the glass pane and it's connected. It's waterproof. It's connected via like Wi-Fi. right? Hopefully it doesn't have a camera because that would be awkward. Uh, so yeah. All right, so it is 4 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Yeah, don't forget to take the survey. It's on the screen. We'd love to get you guys your feedback. But I hope you guys can walk away today with at least one practical takeaway that you can implement. Once again, thank the host. They were wonderful. They were gracious. They're amazing. And yeah, you guys go crush it, make a lot of money, and change the world. All right, take care, guys.